Well, if there's a sentimental favorite in the crowd, it's Bustamante. A gut-wrenching loss to Earl Strickland in last year's final. Many would like to see him go one further this year, but he's got quite a roadblock in his way to that final. Former world champion Oliver Ortmann stands right in his way, Jerry.
Yeah, and Oliver Ortmann is not about to just move aside, let Francisco Bustamante pass on through. Oliver's got a lot of fight in him and an awful lot of pool skill.
And you're going to see one of the most unique breaking actions and cueing actions in the game.
Winner breaks.
Unique and successful. Watch how he draws that cue right out of his bridge hand on the last stroke. Right out of the bridge hand as he breaks.
Sure does work.
Oliver said in the pre-match interview the break was going to play a major role in this one. Look at the movement, the cue bending. It's amazing that they can hit that cue ball as hard as they do and control it.
Everything about Francisco Bustamante is unique. Not just his break, his very stroke. No one else in the world has a stroke like Francisco Bustamante. His wrist is fluid, and no one can copy that.
Well, that's not too bad. Didn't intend cannoning the 9, but he's got a shot at the 2 here. And Jerry, looking at Francisco, I see something a little different. He's got the Nick Varner approach to match play.
And that would be?
Chewing gum.
Oh, I hadn't noticed. You're right. He's working on a piece of gum there. I hadn't seen him do that before. Well, he certainly created a nice situation for himself in this rack, Jim.
And you also heard Oliver Ortmann talk about how important it was the early going in the match, but he's underhit that, Jerry. This isn't near as easy as it could have been.
No, I'm surprised that he drew over to that side rail and back. I thought he would follow down the table for it. But hard to argue with a man of Bustamante's caliber. And he slides that ball neatly down into the can pocket. The problems he makes are the problems he solves.
A dream start for Francisco. It's going to be a break and finish. And with a break as powerful as his, that's an ominous start for Oliver Ortmann.
Yeah, Ortmann not worried yet. This is just one mark on Francisco's side. He's got to get 8 more to make Oliver Ortmann worry. Ortmann has seen so much tournament pool. But meanwhile, there's action continuing in other parts of this arena. In fact, there's lots of it going on upstairs. Here's Chris Melling. Ooh, a scratch that cost him the match.
Yes, a lot of fans that follow Chris Melling will be disappointed to see that.
Yeah, he was one of the favorites coming into this. Really a fantastic young man with a lot of potential, a lot of future ahead of him, but he's out of our competition for this year.
Rack 2, Francisco Bustamante to break, leading 1 rack to 0.
Well, let's see if he can duplicate his effort in rack 1. Out of the gate like a whippet.
Ball's falling down everywhere, but the 2-ball is not going to really cooperate with him. All he has here, Jim, is a bank or a whole lot of safety options.
Well, one thing about the bank shot, Jerry, is the 4-ball's the same half of the table. It wouldn't completely surprise me to see him take this.
No, he doesn't have to worry too much about position here. He just has to worry about making that 2-ball.
You can see a lot of the scores, matches still in progress and matches that have been completed.
There's that 2-ball on its way to destiny. As we mentioned, it brings the cue ball right back over for the pink 4, and now the orange 5 you see on your screen at the top left. All he needs to do is avoid having that 7-ball get in his way.
You notice Tony Drago 4-2 ahead of Vettis there. That's a match we'll be keeping an eye on for you.
Drago barely slid his way into this competition. He needed to win 3 racks in his last game last night to get in. And how many did he win? 3.
Yeah, that was some kind of nerve-ending finish for Tony Drago, just scraping through. And of course, yet to come, Steve Davis and India's Rahane.
Well, it's going to be fun to see what Francisco does here. The 9-ball in the natural path around the table. Boy, he just slides right on by it like it's not even there and comes out in line with the 7-ball.
Jerry, he's in cruise control right now.
You're right. And you mentioned it earlier. What a sentimental favorite this fellow is. He suffered a terrible tragedy last year at this event. During this very week last year, his infant daughter passed away. He called his wife, and she urged him to stay and play on in the memory of his daughter. And he went all the way to the finals against Earl Strickland and came in a very, very close 2nd place. There are a lot of hearts wanting to see Francisco do well, and right now he's performing beautifully.
Well, he's looking to write a proper ending this year, and still more results coming through from the other tables above us.
Here's Lee. He's playing against Takanaka, and he has just beaten the great Takanaka of Japan. Boy, there are a lot of good players going out of this thing left and right.
There were a lot of great players that never even survived the round-robin stages, but such is the game of 9-ball. Unpredictable.
Well, this field gets tougher every year, Jim. This year we've had 2 world champions go it, not even make it to this round. Varner's out, Fong-Pang Chow is out.
We can update the Tony Drago score for you. 5-3 Tony Drago over Greece's Vettis.
Francisco Bustamante to break, leading 2 racks to 0.
And as yet, other than the lag, we have not seen Oliver Ortman come to the table. 2-0 the score. And it certainly appears like Francisco Bustamante brought his A game to this match.
Boy, he has things so well in hand here, Jim. I mean, making balls on the break, and he's coming out with a shot after the break. This is a beautiful shot here on the 2-ball. All he's got to do is make it. The 3-ball is the red ball that's right beside the 2.
I just noticed Oliver Ortman too, Jerry. He just crossed his arms and he got a little bit more relaxed in his chair.
All he can do is watch.
But I think his body language says that he feels he's going to be spending a little more time there.
I don't see much way that he's going to get up during this rack. When he does get up, it's quite a treat to watch Oliver play. I was at an event back in the mid-90s where he broke off, and he broke the rack so hard that his ferrule shattered into 100 different tiny little pieces. It just exploded off the end of his cue stick.
I remember watching Bustamante play Chen Sheng Yang in last year's event. I think it was around the quarterfinals, if I'm not mistaken. It was certainly the later stages, and that was the best match of 9-ball I've ever seen. They rattled off 5 and 6 racks against each other. And I was watching it with the #1 Canadian player Alex Paguline, he said that was the best he had seen Bustamante play. Well, I don't know how you get any better than what you're seeing right now.
Nor do I, Jim. He's got that cue ball on a string. You know, he's getting in line on these racks early, and he just stays in line. He doesn't make any errors. Wow.
What's scary, Jerry, is he doesn't look like making any errors. He's maintained the same pace, the same rhythm around the table, and that's the reason Francisco Bustamante now enjoys a 3-0 lead over former world champion Oliver Ortmann. Day 5, sudden death elimination day. You must win or you're packing your bags and booking your ticket home.
And right now, Bustamante's putting on pool school for you right here on center table. He hasn't let his opponent get out of the chair, and it's all because of this shot right here. What a break.
Cue ball, a little kick near that corner pocket, but look at the two, Jerry. Again. And still lots of action. As we said, we told you we're going to keep you abreast of the Tony Drago match. And you can see now 7-3 for the Tornado. Difficult two here, just safe, Jerry.
Got to be playing safe in this position.
What a story Drago is in this one. The long 2 and the 3 difficult here for Bustamante. Well, I said difficult. I thought it was on that bump, and the way that he's reacting, possibly it is.
No, I'm taking a stare down that edge of the table. He's got just a little room. I don't know if there's enough room there to cut it, but there's plenty of room to play safe if he wishes.
I don't know where exactly he was trying to get to with it. Very difficult to try and make this into the side, that's for certain. You can see a cute angle into that middle pocket. What a shot from Bustamante there.
Francisco not about to give up control of this table.
He is just making this game look way too easy right now.
Francisco really enjoys these big tournaments. The pressure doesn't feed on him the way it seems to do on so many players. Whenever you see him, he's laughing, having a great time, talking to the fans.
He's probably one of the most easygoing of all the Filipinos, with the exception maybe of Alex.
Easy guy to get to know. He's already measured up the 7 ball. The next ball he will be attacking after this green. What beautiful cue ball control, Jim.
Superb. He'll just want to keep the cue ball out near the center of the table to leave the 8.
How frustrating this must be for Oliver Ortmann just to sit and watch Francisco run rack after rack after rack. This is a repeat performance of what we saw his friend do earlier. Efren Reyes ran 4 racks. Now Bustamante is going to equal this effort.
To me, Jerry, this is what makes a game of 9-ball so mentally difficult. You've been parked in your chair, and if and when a chance comes, you've got to think positive. How tough is that?
Yeah, it's just draining to sit in the chair and watch a man like Francisco take the racks apart and then take them home. Bustamante 4-0. A considerable lead, and now let's go back upstairs, see how Tony Drago's doing, Jim.
8 threes on the hill, but it's Vettis at the table.
Vettis not about to roll over and give up on the 5 ball.
Well, Tony is in terrific position up there. He's going to turn all of Malta into a pool-playing nation when he finishes.
Malta, that's beside Aruba. Players from countries and islands We get them from everywhere here in Cardiff.
Bustamante to break, leading 4
Over
racks to
40 countries represented here this year. And Francisco Bustamante is putting on a breaking clinic on the main table. 4 and out and counting.
You could do worse than to emulate this man's break.
He's won virtually everything there is to win. The biggest title has eluded him. Is 2003 going to be Bustamante's year?
Cue ball
No,
side
no stop.
pocket.
Ball in hand.
And that's the opportunity that Ortman has been awaiting.
Got kicked in, Jerry. Had it right in the middle, and that 3-ball knocked it right into the side pocket. But what can the machine
Settle
come up
down,
with
please.
in response?
Well, first he's got to shake the ice off his arm, but at least he has a couple of easy shots to warm up with, to build his confidence. And Ortman just as capable of stringing racks together. Bustamante could be seated for a while now.
Little doubt there. And I think Bustamante's reaction virtually gave that little secret away. After the in-off, he departed the table with a little animation.
Controlled frustration on the part of Francisco. And he knows this rack belongs to Ortman. Oliver will draw back across the table for the green 6. You see the brown 7 waiting for him right below where his body is.
This is a great effort from Oliver, Jerry, given that he has been in his seat for about a half an hour.
Three rails for the 8-ball rather. He seems to be playing just a little bit more quickly than he normally plays.
He wants to get those 4 racks back in a hurry.
Ortman takes a rack, and that's got to be a great feeling after sitting in your chair as long as Oliver did. But now he gets to come back to the table with a break, and if he can get his working, who knows what we could see here.
All manufactured by the scratch into the side pocket from Francisco Bustamante. Another look at it right here. Watch the 3. Knocks that cue ball right in, and Francisco greeted it.
Perfect break gone awry, and now Oliver Ortman trying to play catch-up.
Well, Francisco will think for a while, and while he does that thinking, we're going to go check back upstairs, and here's Tony Drago eyeing up a 9 that'll put him through to the last 32. The Maltese Falcon through to the last 32. The first time he's seen that stage in this event. 9-4, the victory over Greece's Vetus.
One happy man, especially since he just
rack
barely
6.
got
Oliver
into this
Ortman to
field.
break, trailing 1 rack to 4.
And now Oliver gears it up for his second break off.
He's got a ball down, and it looks like the 1 may develop, but the 2 ball jumps right in his way.
There's where you need that little bit of luck. You can hit that break, leave that cue ball right in the middle, just as Oliver has done, and look at that. That little bit of running, you just need it there. That would be a bit ambitious,
Wow.
Jerry.
Yeah, having to start a rack off with a jump shot, and if you leave that table open, you could be seated for another long stretch.
Pool is not a lot different than golf. You've got to take what the course or the table give you. Don't try and force the issue.
Yeah, the problem is the push out. Where do you push to where Francisco Bustamante can't hurt you?
That's probably the main reason that Oliver is even considering the jump shot over the 2. I don't know what he jumps like, but he hasn't gone back to get his jump cue out. Wonder if he's got a couple of those little fingertip utensils that Earl Strickland has.
No, he's reaching for the jump cue.
Earl has the patent on those for now.
Yeah.
Those will be on the market in the next couple months.
Yeah.
I was wondering where the sunglasses were, Jer.
Look for finger extenders at your nearby billiard store. Coming soon.
So here we go, the jump shot. If he can hold the cue ball into that area where the 1 is, though jumping over the 2, it's probably going to have a lot of backspin. So as difficult as the shot is, he's also got to think about where the cue ball finishes.
Oh, he's got to stretch for this jump shot. That is really rough when you can't get your height up over the shot. He's made it. What a shot.
Unwilling to relinquish the table is Oliver Ortman. And what an effort on that one there.
Oh, there's a confidence builder. That should help ease his way through the rest of the rack, and maybe even through a few more.
These guys are firing rockets at each other right now.
What pool we've seen tonight. All day it's been great pool. Reyes, Archer, Strickland, now Bustamante, and Ortman.
He's got to draw this back. The 3 is at the top of the table as we look. Just having a look to make sure the contact on the 8 will allow the cue ball to float back for the 3.
Gorgeous shot from Ortman. He is really turning it on now. And Bustamante was sending a message when he ran those 4 racks. Well, Oliver Ortman's typing one out on his page, and he's screaming. He's saying, "You can't intimidate me. Watch me play."
Well, Oliver must have had an anxious moment there, and you can see he's run out of position simply because he overcut that 3. Watch this.
By overcutting it, the cue ball retained more energy than he desired, so it was able to come up table further than he had planned, and now he's got to get back in line as well as make the shot.
Still a little work to do.
Yeah, he's not back in line yet, Jim.
That was a great shot on the 5 to maintain his turn at the table, but again, he's got a fine cut on the 6, and it looks like the cue ball is going to be going into the 8, so he's got to negotiate the contact to maintain position to the 7.
If he can escape the 8 on the way in, he can twist it away from the rail on the way out. Oh, but he did not, and he's missed the 6 ball.
The problem was coming off the 8. It was never going to be easy. As I said, it was a tough shot to begin with, but thinking about where the cue ball was going to go in getting the 6.
Too many things to plan, and that brings Francisco back to the table with, well, really a very easy out.
Well, Oliver did very little wrong there. Just the one shot on the 3 that he overcut, started to dig himself in, and he couldn't get out.
Yeah, but you know what? That's a huge opportunity gone awry, and he could pay just a desperate price.
Well, the way Bustamante has been breaking off, how high that price is going to be, only time will tell. 5-1, the score now here on the main table. Bustamante over Oliver Ortman. All to play for. Join us after the break.
And Francisco Bustamante likes to get the job done. 5-1 over Oliver Ortman. Back at the table. And due to a little glitch in Mr. Ortman's game. And let's see how long he can stay there. This time, you know, that one ball did not develop well at all.
One of the few times that Bustamante has broken off successfully and not landed on the lowest ball still remaining. But again, that distinctive breaking style that sets him apart from all others. Now he can just get through to this one, so you may see him just try and flick the edge of it and run for cover. Not easy though, got to be very careful here.
He sure does. Maybe he's going to try and send the one ball back to the other side of the table and throw the cue ball down on that other same side of the table, but no, he chose to try and make a one ball hide, and he didn't get there.
Well, I'll tell you why he took that chance, Jerry, because where the 3 is right now, position from the 1 to the 3 is very difficult. And I think if that 3 would have been in the open and made the risk of leaving this one on, possibility of a clearance from Ortman, I don't know if you'd have seen Francisco play the same shot.
Well, he's going to have to take his time and study this. Wow, this is a toughie.
Well, the 1, as you can see, the 1 is available, but it's the red 3 that concerns Oliver. If the risks don't outweigh the rewards, then you go. But here, with position not being guaranteed, is the shot at the 1 worth it? And it's not really that easy to sort out a safety here.
No, that's what I was looking for. I think he may play a two-way shot, Jim, banking the one ball cross corner. And that way it could become a shot to nothing. If he misses the one ball, it might wind up in the center of that rail. Oh, no. Why do that when you can just hammer it and get all the way back to Strickland in an earlier match?
Well, now he's looking at a very similar 3 ball that we saw Francisco Bustamante make earlier in this match. To me, this looks just a touch more difficult.
Boy, that is thin, not much angle there at all to play with.
And he's going to have to slow roll it. So again, he's going to have to put a lot of trust in the table. And even more in his back arm.
Boy, what a very, very difficult shot. The touch that's required for this kind of shot is unreal.
How well did Oliver Ortman hit that shot? The slow drag with the bottom. You just saw a shot of a very confident player there.
Oliver's playing so well and still trailing 5-1 in this match. He just has to remain aggressive here, Jim. He really has. There's no room now for defense.
Well, he underhit that by about a foot. He wanted to be a little straighter on this 5 to draw back into the area he is now for the 6. And he may have to come across the table on this with a little more speed in the white and play the 6 the other corner.
Should be okay now. Cueing over a pocket, but he's overcome that obstacle, and now no problem. Oliver Ortman should be putting his second mark on the board.
He's really making Bustamante pay for that poor safety, though. But Oliver's left a lot more difficult 9 than he needed to. That was terribly underhit.
Certainly was. He scratched his head over that one, doesn't even understand his own shot. Here you see it, the 7 ball down, but the cue ball has no speed on it. Whoa. Used the whole pocket, but the 9 ball's down. And Oliver Ortman now is drawn within 3 games of Francisco Bustamante.
Yeah, you see him winding up his arm still. He's still trying to loosen up, isn't he?
Yeah, he hasn't been at the table long enough to be truly comfortable. He'll get there if he can just make a breaking clearance. That'll help him a great deal.
As we said, lots of Action happening, and a buddy of mine, a Canadian, Alex Pagulayan, in action upstairs. I think this is for the match.
It is indeed for the match. Pagulayan has beaten Sugaya of Japan. And right now, he's having a conversation with Sophie.
Well done, Alex. You made it through, but that looked like a tough match for you.
Yeah, I was struggling in the beginning, and I couldn't make a ball off the break. Even though if I make a ball off the break, I couldn't get a shot. But at the end, I got a little bit lucky there. So it was a good win for me.
Right, so in your next match tomorrow, you're against Rodney Morris. How do you feel like that's going to go?
Oh, he's one of my favorite players, Rodney. So I better play good tomorrow in order for me to beat him.
Yeah, it should be a very good game to watch as well.
Oh yeah, he's a fun guy to play with. I mean, he's a nice guy and great player.
Lovely. We'll look forward to seeing it tomorrow. Well done.
Thank you, Sophie. Thanks.
Well, we'll look forward to that one as well. Rodney Morris and Alex Pagulayan. Mark that one down on your cards.
Oliver Ortman to break.
Yeah, there's so many great matches shaping up for tomorrow. But we've got a great one here tonight. Ortman with the opportunity to make it all happen. Has to begin with this break shot. He's got the wing ball down, Jim, but he got kicked out of position.
He nailed that break, Jerry.
Yeah, that was a beautiful break shot. He's very unfortunate to have his cue ball kicked all the way down table.
Watch
you just
the cue
can't
ball.
control that.
Right in the middle of the table and kicked out of position. And nothing but a safety option awaits Oliver on the one.
Well, you can't hit them any harder.
You know something? I say a safety option. Look where the 2 is.
I see it.
He should go for this bank. He can draw the cue ball back. If he gets it, he's going to be on the 2. If he doesn't, he'd be very unlucky to leave the 1. I think he's got to take the aggressive path here, and I don't know whether he is. He's 5-2 behind.
He looks like he's sending the one ball down table on a cut. And that also has safety options, but, he's playing the safety straight away.
Jerry, I never like trying to second-guess anybody, but I think there's a lot of players in the world that would have tried to bank that one because it did offer position to the 2.
Could be he was just so frustrated with the way his cue ball got kicked out of position that he didn't take enough time to look at all the options, but he may have just liked this one, and it hasn't served him badly.
Well, we'll see how this one unfolds. Francisco obviously can't get straight through to the 1. He's looking at a kick and going that path. Surely the 7 and the 9 have to be in his way.
Well, when this shot was first executed, I thought there was an alley through to the 1 ball. But the way Francisco is acting there, obviously is not.
He's got to be trying to dig into this to bend it around the 7. Where he's playing this, he's going to play a lot of bottom in the cue ball and try and swing it off that angle. This is going to be a slow drag shot. Oh, just missed it.
Ball in hand.
Good call, Jim, and a good effort by Francisco. Just didn't quite pay off. And Oliver Ortman gets the opportunity that the break denied him.
Well, Oliver, I take it all back. You just bought yourself cue ball in hand with everything in the open, and you made the right decision. A good positional shot from the 1 to the 2 here, now that the 3 has been cleared. And Ortman should be looking at a 5-3 scoreline. Nothing but a mistake is standing in his way.
Wow. Very well played. You know, Oliver showed us great cue ball control all night. It's just the occasional error that has kept him from having a heavier score line at the moment.
What I liked about this match and what I felt it presented as two players in the primes of their careers and no intimidation from either side. Both of them very accustomed to being at center stage in front of the cameras and the lights, and you just knew they were going to put on a good show. It had all the makings of a classic.
Oliver, you're going to hate yourself in the morning.
He obviously wasn't listening to my commentary. I was building him up.
Well, he's sunk into the chair over there, and he certainly can't understand that shot, nor do we.
I'm wondering if he didn't take it for granted, Jerry, and was thinking primarily about the cue ball and left the most important part of the equation hung out to dry.
But Oliver knows how much that's liable to cost him. He doesn't live that far from Francisco. They both live in Germany. They play each other often.
Look at Francisco's back arm. See it swinging out with the overhead there? He's got the most unique cue action. He's overcut this.
Wow. The two ball proves to be the devil for two champions, and it brings Ortman right back to the table. You know, you don't...
Watch his action, Jerry. Look at that. He's got one of the most unique actions on the Pro Tour.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Like nothing you'll ever see, but he does make it work. Though he certainly didn't there. And gives Oliver the opportunity to step right back in and very quickly take away that negative memory from the miss two.
You won't often see two champions coming to the table in one game multiple times. But we have in this one. And now Oliver in control. We're right back where we started.
He's getting a little scrappy. Not very often you see players of this caliber exchange mistakes like this.
Boy, oh boy, you can see the disappointment in Ortman. All these opportunities have come and gone, and both these players would like to get this rack over with.
When you've got over 300 grand in prize money, and it's the biggest event in the world, pressure can manifest itself in so many different ways, and you never know when it's going to jump up and grab you by the throat.
Well, Bustamante may be the final beneficiary of this table. We've really seen a tennis match on this rack with the table being given back and forth to our two players. But that's over now. Bustamante, with an easy three-ball clearance, will go up to a 6-2 lead. That'll put him 2/3 of the way to the goal. Ortman still squatting back near the starting gate.
This 9 to confirm that score line.
Bustamante finally clears that troublesome rack from the table and leads our match 6-2. He'll go collect himself and hope for a better break-off in this game.
A lot easier to forget all those misses when you've won the rack, isn't it?
Yeah, Ortman's got to be just suffering on his side of the arena to know that he came to the table 3 times and couldn't get the job done. Whoa.
You think Oliver's thinking about this 3? You bet he is.
Thinking about that 3-ball, thinking about that 2-ball, thinking about that break. Wow.
He fell a little short of ideal position from the 2, but this is still one that the captain of the Mosconi Cup, the European team Mosconi Cup winners, would love to have over. Does the title mean anything, Jerry? Have a look at that picture.
I'm telling you. This competition at this stage can just drag the emotion out of you. Oliver Ortman's one of the most well-contained competitors in the world. And you can see even he has to show a little bit of sadness and frustration at the events that have unfolded.
Rack 9. Francisco
Well, they say that
break, leading 6 racks
pressure
to 2.
builds character, but it certainly also reveals character. And there's no pressure like big-time pool.
Bustamante again has no problem depositing balls in Jim. This time he's got a shot. It's a long one, but he's got one.
Yes, he's really humming now with the break-off, Jerry. And it's just a question of whether he lands on the ball on, not so much whether he gets one off the break. And that's got to be a very sickening feeling when you're sat in your chair, knowing the man's going to get a ball remaining. But he's got to try and reel in this long two.
Yeah, I don't believe that 9 ball is going to jump up and hurt him, but it could.
The big problem here, Jerry, is, as you said, the position of the 9 and the 4 here. These 2 balls sitting down. It looks like the natural path from the 2 will take the cue ball straight into these. And I think what the biggest problem is even if he knocks the 2 and he gets a decent shot at the 3, the 4 is at the wrong end of the table. Is this shot worth the risk?
Well, now he might say no.
That was always going to be the problem, though. He knew he was going to be contacting those. And
Boy,
now
he
I really can't see him taking this 3 on at all. I'm not sure whether or not he can see enough of it. It looks like he can. But once again, cue ball near the cushion, the natural angle, takes the white right towards that far left corner. And the other option is to hit it thin and try and run for cover. Cut the 3 into the right-hand side cushion. Is he going to go after this?
He is jacking up with a power shot. Wow.
You just saw a shot that maybe only a handful of players on the planet could play. Francisco Bustamante, Earl Strickland, and I can't think of many more.
Once the man makes up his mind, he just cranks it up and delivers unbelievable shot making. Now, he's got a little problem here, Jim. A little too straight in. He needs to slide on down table for the 7 ball. Oh, there we go. Now it's easy. An easy trip through the rack to give him 7 marks.
It wasn't easy to start. He's made it easy with some phenomenal shot making.
This is a very memorable game. We've had quite a few today. This one jumps right up to the top. And Francisco Bustamante now has 7 games on his side. He only needs 2 more. Stick around. We'll see what happens very, very soon.
You want shots? We'll show you shots. Care of Francisco Bustamante. Watch this. It doesn't get any better than that. An unbelievable shot, jacking up the back end of the cue from what looked like a hopeless position to get on the 4. He just pulled out a little magic. As he gets set to break off here in rack 10, we've just had a quick message brought to us from the box. Both Dee and Faye are watching this live at the Philippine Embassy in Warsaw, Poland. and they have just sent a message wishing Francisco Bustamante the very best. Watching live in Poland. Well, I can tell you, D and Faye, he's doing the business right now in Cardiff.
Look at the balls go down on this man's break. 4 balls down, only 5 left. And he has a tough shot on the lowest ball. That's the pink 4 to the left.
Well, he'll be surveying this 4 for a while. He's probably going to feel a little unlucky not to have had a better shot.
Wow, look at him disappear from the table. The 2 ball in the corner, the 1 and the 3 in the side, and the 6 in the other side. Look at this man's action. Eyes glued to the cue ball.
Well, he's got to feel like he's bulletproof now. Some of the shots he's pulled out, he took a stab at that one and got away with it.
Yeah, if he's bulletproof, Oliver is snake bit. He should have wound up with a shot, and instead, he's probably going to be looking for a place to duck. I don't know, though. At this stage of the match, you go ahead and pull it out and go for it. Tough to say.
You got to try and seize the momentum, Jerry, and there's no better way of doing it than pulling out a great shot.
Well, that one's not bad. He certainly left Bustamante in a problem.
I don't know whether or not that 4 and 7 are a combination. Francisco's having a good look at it. If that's a combination set.
Settle down, please.
Well, he's jacked up the rear end of that cue stick again. Trying to swerve around. Nope. Just trying to make a good hit. And look at this. That 4 is headed for the hole.
If it goes in, he loves it. If it doesn't, Ortman is in jail behind the 7 anyway. Just a pure kick.
Well, I happen to be watching Ortman's face through that, and he just suffered all the way through that shot.
Oliver's had a few chances in this in some of the middle racks, and a couple unforced errors have seen him depart the table a little prematurely, and they have proven so costly. Look at this. Look, speaking of unforced errors.
Francisco cannot believe that he has missed an open shot on an open table. He wouldn't miss this again in a million years, and he drove that ball into the rail.
I think he might be looking for an aspirin. That shot's going to give him a headache.
Well, Oliver is going to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat.
And more importantly, stops Bustamante from getting to the hill. He needs this 9 to do it, though.
He could have finished better on this 9 ball, but his arm has to be cold now, as much time as he spent sitting in that chair.
And he's stretching on this.
This is missable.
He was stretching on that, Jerry, and when you're stretching over the table, you can't put a nice clean stroke on it. You have to just jab it.
There you see, 9 ball hard into the rail, stretching way over the table.
This is far from a memorable performance from the machine.
So Bustamante a bit frustrated by the situation in which he finds himself.
Well, Jerry, if that 9 is near the cushion, it wouldn't surprise me to see Francisco try and make this with a lot of left-hand spin and try and flick it in.
A straight cut is what he attempted, but he's going to leave Ortman virtually the same. No, this is worse. He's left Ortman a worse situation than he himself faced. 9 ball keeps playing around that pocket, but it's not going in.
You look up ugly in the dictionary and you get a picture of the shot that Oliver Ortman is facing. 7-2 behind. Who would wish this on their worst enemy? Is it possible that Oliver can try and flick this in? He's looking at the side cushion. Well, that would take a lot more courage than most players have to play this. But
yeah.
You know something? It's 7-2.
Why not?
Why not throw caution to the wind? If he hits it, he should make it. If he doesn't, 8-2.
No, he's decided to put these two balls probably on opposite sides of the table and leave Bustamante a break. You know, I like his kick. I like the kick idea.
No, he's decided he's undecided. He's going for the side cushion. Hold on to your seats. All or nothing right here.
Here we go. Kick shot could make a huge difference in this match. Oh, keep a knocking, but you can't come in.
Look at this. It's still not a given. This is the easiest of the last 3 shots we've seen. But
here's a look at the kick. And oh boy. Bustamante with a chance to redeem himself. There it is.
A courageous effort from Oliver Ortman, falling just short. Bustamante is on the hill, 8-2, and wants one more for a place in the last 32. But Oliver Ortman, there is the picture of a man suffering. He's had his chances, but he's shown a lot of courage to attempt this one.
That 9-ball just got so tough over and over and over again. Neither player could catch a roll. Finally, this kick set it up for Bustamante.
Just missed it too, Jerry.
Oh.
I don't think there was anyone in the arena here that, given the shot he attempted, wouldn't have minded seeing that 9 go in. 8-2 the score.
Francisco Bustamante.
And Francisco comes to the table to break off for the last time in this match. If he gets one and lands on the lowest one, still remaining on the table, could be the beginning of the end for Oliver Ortman's 2003 World Championship bid. And he has.
This is probably going to be it for Oliver Ortman. A great break from Bustamante. And Ortman knows the writing's on the wall. He just doesn't want to read it.
Well, Dee and Faye will be watching this at the Philippine Embassy. Want to thank Clive Cox for bringing that information to us. He looks after the players here as well as anybody. One of Matchroom's main men.
Francisco just free stroking now. Oh, how pretty that is. Might be a small problem with the 7-ball, but I doubt it. It's laying next to the 8, but it's really, it's not stopping it from going anywhere.
No, where the 5 is, Jerry, it offers natural position from the 5 to the 7. Nothing short of a glaring mistake is going to stop Bustamante from dragging himself over the finish line in this one.
Slightly on the wrong side of this ball, but I doubt that'll slow him down. Yeah, Bustamante's already made one glaring mistake in this game. He's not going to make another one, I would not think. Oh, pretty the way he held that cue. There's a man getting a great record of this history-making match.
He's doing your job for you, Jerry. Is he giving himself the angle here on the 8 to come down for the 9?
No, but he can force follow through with right-hand English and spin off that rail and get right where he needs to be. He is going to have to hit this ball with some punch. Watch out for the scratch. Nope, not going to get there. He's got it. Jim, Francisco Bustamante has put on a show for us tonight.
He certainly has been the better of the two here this evening. Django through to the last 32, a convincing 9-2 winner over Oliver Ortman. Still to come, the Nuggets, Steve Davis versus Mukesh Rahane. Stay with us. It's all happening here in Cardiff.